Today's technological market is dominated by two constructing business models, the generative and the non-generative models, the PCs. Windows and Macs of this world allow third parties to build upon and share through them. The non-generative models is more restricted. Appliances might work well, but Macs of this world allow third parties to build upon and share through them. The non-generative models is more restricted. Appliances might work well, but the only entity that can change the way they operate is the vendor. And change the way they operate is the vendor. Never has the world of journalism been so explosive, so global, and so competitive. Forget hourly news flashes. We live in a world of 24-hour breaking news with radio and TV stations and internet sites updating stories by the minute and newspapers adjusting to stay fresh, in-depth, and relevant. Radio and TV stations and internet sites updating stories by the minute and newspapers adjusting to stay fresh, in-depth, and relevant. Karl Marx is arguably the most famous political philosopher of all time, but he was also one of the great foreign correspondents of the 19th century. During his 11 years writing for the New York Tribune, their collaboration began in 1852. Marx tackled an abundance of topics from issues of class and their collaboration began in 1852. Marx tackled an abundance of topics from issues of class and the state of world affairs. When buying a house, for example, it's best to let our unconscious mull over the many variables. But when we're picking stocks and shares, intuition often leads us astray. The trick is to determine when to lean on which part of the brain, and to do this, we need to think harder and smarter about how we think. Astray. The trick is to determine when to lean on which part of the brain, and to do this, we need to think harder and smarter about how we think. The human-animal's status as the only clever tool user who can talk about our feelings is crumbling. Prairie dogs can make up words for new animals. Crows are born with the ability to make tools. Elephants recognize and stroke the bones of a lost family member. As biologists delve into these subjects, they're demonstrating that we're needed to make tools. Elephants recognize and stroke the bones of a lost family member. As biologists delve into these subjects, they're demonstrating that we're not nearly as unique as we once thought. It's the perfect time, scientifically speaking, to reassess our place in the animal kingdom. It's the perfect time, scientifically speaking, to reassess our place in the animal kingdom. Market research is a vital part of the planning of any business. However experienced you or your staff may be in a particular field, if you are thinking of introducing a service to a new area, it is important to find out what the local population thinks about it first. Service to a new area, It is important to find out what the local population thinks about it first. Not a lot is known about how the transportation of goods by water first began. Large cargo boats were being used in some parts of the world up to 5,000 years ago. However, sea trade became more widespread when large sailing boats traveled between ports, carrying spices, perfumes, and objects made by hand. However, sea trade became more widespread when large sailing boats traveled between ports, carrying spices, perfumes, and objects made by hand. When the young artist was asked about his drawing, he explained that he had started by taking a photograph of himself sitting by a window at home. He then drew his face from the photograph and replaced the buildings which were outside the window with trees. This gave the picture a softer, more artistic background, and replaced the buildings which were outside the window with trees. This gave the picture a softer, more artistic background. Humans need to use energy in order to exist, so it is unsurprising that the way people have been producing energy is largely responsible for current environmental problems. Pollution comes in many forms, but those that are most concerning because of their impact on health result from the combustion of fuels in power stations. Pollution comes in many forms, but those that are most concerning because of their impact on health result from the combustion of fuels in power stations and cars. Clearly, times are changing, and while many people are saving for their retirement, many more still need to do so. Most countries have a range of pension schemes that are designed to provide individuals with an income once they stop working. People need to take advantage of these if they are to have sufficient money throughout their retirement and income once they stop working. People need to take advantage of these if they are to have sufficient money throughout their retirement years. According to recent research, sunshine and warm weather have a positive effect on our moods. The British Journal of Psychology has published a report in which it claims that anxiety levels fall when temperatures rise, while increased exposure to sunshine makes us think more positively about our lives. When temperatures rise, while increased exposure to sunshine makes us think more positively about our lives. Statistics reflect vital information about the economy, the well-being of a population, and the environment. Society relies on the statistics being visible, accessible, and robust, and on statistically literate people making the best use of the information to determine future action. Statistical literacy, then, and on statistically literate people making the best use of the information to determine future action. Statistical literacy, then, is the ability to accurately understand, interpret, and evaluate the data that inform these issues. Validate the data that inform these issues. Housing fulfills the basic needs that people have for security, privacy, and shelter. While the adequacy of housing is an important component of individual well-being, housing also has a great impact on the nation's economy with its influence on investment levels, interest rates, building activity, and employment. Impact on the nation's economy with its influence on investment levels, interest rates, building activity, and employment. Being physically active benefits people's health significantly, including reducing the risk of some chronic conditions, helping to control weight, and improving mental health. In recent decades, there has been a decline in physical activity because more people work in offices rather than in manual jobs. There has been a decline in physical activity because more people work in offices rather than in manual jobs. Students who wish to take a break from their studies will need to put in an application for leave of absence. If your application is successful, you will be notified via email. At the end of your leave of absence, you must re-enroll at the student services and the subjects you intend to study. You must re-enroll at the student services and the subjects you intend to study. There are a number of tests available which can suggest if a person is telling the truth, but knowing which ones are accurate is not easy. A newly created test is claimed to be the most accurate yet in lie detection. However, questions have been raised about its accuracy and ethics. Lie detection. However, questions have been raised about its accuracy and ethics. The student exchange program complements formal education while promoting tolerance, maturity, and independence, all highly sought after qualities in today's competitive job market. Living in the host country, not as a tourist or guest, but as a member of the community, is what makes the experience both challenging and rewarding. Living in the host country, not as a tourist or guest, but as a member of the community, is what makes the experience both challenging and rewarding. Tidal energy, also known as tidal power, is a renewable source of energy and a form of hydropower used to generate electricity from the energy of the tides. Though not currently widely utilized due to high cost and limited availability, it can be called the energy resource of the future given that not currently widely utilized due to high cost and limited availability. It can be called the energy resource of the future given the current rate of depletion of energy resources.